All right, guys, I'm gonna get started. I'm posting this video after we're done, so hopefully some of you will watch it regardless. Sophia, hey,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go through some slides and do a review. If you want to follow along, if you have any questions, let me know. And if you got it and you don't want to stay the whole time, feel free to jump out whenever, all right?
Okay.
All right. So the first one is find the volume of a cube. So first we have to talk about what the meaning of volume is, which basically we're just saying that volume takes up the inside space, right? We did area and that was just what's the outside, but volume is what's the inside. When we look at the volume of a cube, we are looking for length times width times height. And when it's a cube, they're all the same. So in order to find the volume of this cube, you would just do 10 times 10 times 10. And because it's still morning and I'm not totally awake, yep, 1,000 cubic centimeters is what we're looking at. So from there, we're just gonna go through some of the shapes and you can follow along. So we've got a pyramid here. So we're gonna use the volume of a pyramid to figure this one out. Volume of a pyramid is equal to big B, which is the area of the base, right? Times the height, all divided by 3. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is find big B, which is the area of this base. This is a square pyramid. It should say that in the example, but it doesn't. So to find the area of the base, we simply do 40 times 40, right? Because it's length times width to find the area of the base. And when I do that, I get 1,600, right? So we have 1,600 for the area of our base. And then we have the height, which is going to be this length right here. We don't actually have the height, so we have to find it. So in order to do that, we can simply create a right triangle here. And we have the hypotenuse of our right triangle, it's 25. And one of the bases of our right triangle is going to be half of the pyramid, right? Because the height cuts it in half. So this is 20. And you can do Pythag, right? Using h squared plus 20 squared equals 25 squared. Or this is going to be a multiple of the 3, 4, 5 family. So if this is 20, this is 25, our missing piece is going to be 15 because 3, 4, 5 is the multiple. And when we multiply 3 by 5, we get 15. When we multiply 4 by 5, we get 20. And we multiply 5 by 5, we get 25. So now I have my height, which is 15. So I can go ahead and plug that into my formula. So I have the area of the base, which is 1,600. I have the height, which is 15. So I'm going to multiply that by 15. And we're going to divide by 3. And I have a calculator right next to me. So I'm going to do 1,600 times 15 divided by 3, giving me 8,000 feet cubed, right? And usually we'd be really particular about making sure you're using your labels correctly, but as you know, we are doing Google Forms for our assessments, so it's a little bit harder to do labeling, so we actually haven't had you guys been doing labeling. But if you were doing this on a written test, it would be 8,000 feet cubed, because volume is cubic. All right? So let's move on to a cylinder then. So we have there we go. We have a cylinder. And when we are looking at the cylinder, again, our volume is going to be base, big B, area of the base, times the height, right? So if it's a cylinder, the area of the base is going to be pi r squared, right? Because a circle is pi r squared. So this one, we have pi r squared for our big B, and then we have times the height. So let's do the big B first. So I've got this diameter of 7, right? Which means my radius is going to be 3.5 because we're going to cut that in half. So we have R is 3.5. And when we do 3.5 times 3.5, because we're squaring it, we get 12.25 squared. Oh, not squared. Sorry, we already squared it. 12.25 feet squared. There we go. For our radius squared. And I did the most common mistake, and I forgot about pi. So we're going to put that there. So we have 12.25 pi for the area of our base. And we're going to multiply that by the height of the cylinder. The problem is I don't have the height of the cylinder. I have this diagonal that's going across it. So we're going to, again, find the height either using Pythag, or you can recognize this as a family, right? It's a 7, 24, 25 family. So if 24 is our height, now I can plug that into my formula. So volume of a cylinder is equal to big B, which was 12.25 pi times our height, which is 24. I'm going to leave my answer in terms of pi, right? On our Google form, I think we did 2. You would just either write, you can use the pi key if you know how to do that, or I also accepted the word pi as the answer. So 12.25 times 25, or 24, sorry. 12.25 times 24 is equal to 294 pi, don't forget the pi, best part of Thanksgiving, right? Feet cubed. All right. All right, so let's get started with another one. Maybe, there we go. All right, so now we have a cone. Again, we have the formula for the volume of a cone. So it's going to be area of the base, again, big B, times the height of our cone, and we're going to divide this by 3, right? Because a cone is a third of a cylinder. In class, if we got to do this, I would pour 3 cones into a cylinder that had the same dimensions, and they would fit, but not in class, unfortunately, so you'll just have to take my word for it. So we're going to do the volume of our cone. So again, we need big B, which again, the area of our base is a circle. So big B is going to be equal to pi r squared. And the radius is given as 8. So we're just going to plug that in for r. So 8 squared times pi, which is 64 pi, right? So I've got my big B now. I'm going to multiply that by the height. Again, we have a problem. I don't have the height right now. So we can do Pythag again. 8 squared plus h squared equals our hypotenuse, 17 squared, and solve for h. Or again, those families are going to be huge if we recognize it, because this is 8, 15, 17 family. So now I can plug that in for my height. So times 15 and divided by 3. Again, in your calculator, you would just do 64 times 15 divided by 3. And you get 320 pi. And this doesn't have any units, so we'll say units cubed. All right. So again, the trickiest part sometimes is going to be you're going to have to solve for the height or possibly the radius or divide your diameter in half. So you just have to be careful when you're working through some of these, all right? Okay. Oops, too far. Here we go. So we'll do a really nice easy one, right? So when you just have a prism, the volume of a prism is again equal to the area of the base times the height. So in this case, we just do length times width times height, right? So you can just do volume is equal to 12 times 4 times 4. We get 12 times 4 times 4, 192. And what are we in? Inches cubed. Right? Those are the nice easy ones when you just have to multiply the 3 numbers together. Very rare, but every once in a while we give you an easy one, right? All right, let's try one more for a little bit of a tricky one, okay? So we've got a triangular prism here. And this is probably one of the harder shapes, right? Hexagonal prism, triangular prism, because you have to remember the area of a triangle, right? And then you have to multiply it by the height. And sometimes people have a hard time determining what the height of a triangular prism is. So because it's a triangular prism, our base is obviously going to be the triangle. So here is the triangle that I need to find the area for. Because again, we know that volume of any given prism is equal to area of the base, big B, times the height, right? So I have the height of this triangle because I'm, again, looking for area of a base right now, which is a triangle. So we're going to do 1/2 times the base times the height of the triangle. We're specifically focusing on just the triangle right now, right? So I have the height here of this triangle, it's 5. But as you'll notice, the base, which is perpendicular to our height, we do not have. So we have to solve for it. Now, the nice thing here is that this is 13, right? So that means this is also 13 because the triangles are congruent. And if the height over here is 5 and the hypotenuse is 15, again, you'll notice that this is a 5, 12, 13 family. Now, if you don't recognize that, you're going to have to do Pythag, which again is fine. Just takes a little bit more time. So now I have the base and the height of my triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and solve for big B. So we have 12 times 5 times 1/2 or divided by 2, right? It's the same thing. So 12 times 5 is 60 divided by 2. So I got 30 meters squared for my big B. And now I'm going to go ahead and plug that in to my volume formula over here. So volume is equal to big B, which is 30, times our height. The height is the distance between your two bases, right? A prism has 2 bases. So in this case, I have one triangle here, and I have the other triangle in the back. So this prism is actually on its side, right? And so the height of our prism is actually going to be 3. So we're going to plug that in over here. So 30 times 3 is equal to 90 meters squared. All right. So again, with prisms, it's probably the hardest shape. That's why we did a whole week of them, the first week of this unit, because there's all sorts of different prisms. So when you're doing a triangular prism, you need to use the area of the base of a triangle, multiply by the height or the distance between your two bases, right? We also have like a hexagonal prism you could have, right? So now you have 2 hexagons. Excuse my drawing, it's going to be terrible. We all know it, but that's okay. So we have the area of a hexagon, right? Which is going to be area of a hexagon, sorry, is perimeter times that apothem divided by 2, right? And then you would multiply by the height, which is going to be the distance between your 2 hexagons here, right? And remember, the apothem is that line that comes down and is perpendicular to any side of the apothem. And perimeter is just all the sides added together. All right. So those are all the examples I put together for you guys. Did any of you guys have any questions? Yes, no, maybe so.
No.
No? All right. There's a Quizlet. Oh, no, not a Quizlet. A Quizzes. I don't know all your teachers. I know me and Mrs. Pristall, and I think Miss Cubello, I think Miss Feld also assigned a Quizzes. I'm giving it for extra credit. I don't know if all of them are. And so that should help you review a little bit more. And then Tomorrow, we're taking our Google form on the second set of volume questions. All right?
All right, sounds good.
All right. I'm going to do this again next week. So thanks for popping in, and we will hopefully see you guys next week.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. I don't know how to stop it. How do I stop the recording? Oh, there we go.